They call me a phantom, a whisper on the wind that rustles through the skeletal branches of Epping Forest. They speak my name in hushed tones and the flickering firelight of roadside inns, each telling, making me taller, my horse faster, my aim truer. They say I am Dick Turpin, the gentleman of the road, the shadow that falls upon the lonely trail. Perhaps I am. Or perhaps I am merely the reflection of their own desires for a life unbound by the shackles of coin and convention. Out here, under the cold, indifferent gaze of the moon, the road is my kingdom, and every carriage that rumbles through the fog is a treasure chest waiting to be unlocked. My legend was born on the muddy tracks and winding lanes of 18th century England, a time when the gap between the rich and the poor was a chasm as wide and deep as the Thames. I was a butcher's son from Essex, a trait of blood and bone that taught me the grim realities of life early on. But the scent of sawdust and salted meat could not hold a spirit that yearned for the open road, for the thrill of the chase, for the jingle of gold that was unearned through sweat and toil, but taken with a steady hand and a polite, yet firm, demand. They say I rode a magnificent mare, Black Bess, a creature of midnight and myth, her hooves barely touching the ground as we flew from Hounslow Heath to the gates of York. The truth, as it often is a less elegant beast. My horses were many, sturdy and swift, each one a loyal partner in my nightly waltz with fortune. It was on their backs that I became the master of the King's Highway. The sound of their gallop was the percussion to my aria of stand and deliver. I would emerge from the swirling mists like an apparition, my face obscured by a mask, my pistols gleaming in the moonlight. I took from the wealthy merchants and the powdered aristocrats, their jewels and purses, a small price for the stories they would tell for years to come. I was a necessary villain, a specter of justice in a world that offered none. They called me cruel, a brute, a member of the ruthless Gregory gang. And yes, there was darkness in my past, deeds I would not wish to recount. But the people, the common folk, they saw something else. They saw a man who dared to defy the suffocating order of things, who lived by his own rules under a canopy of stars. But every legend has its final chapter. Every folk hero, his day of reckoning. The stories, you see, they grow too large. The exaggerated tales of my daring escapes and gentlemanly conduct, spun in penny dreadfuls, whispered by firesides, painted a target on my back, larger than any man could outrun. The name Dick Turpin became a symbol, a challenge to the crown and its authority. They wove a tapestry of myth around me, tales of a single, impossible ride from London to York, to secure an alibi, a feat that would grant me immortality in the annals of folklore. They spoke of a Robin Hood in a tricorn hat, a romantic rogue who charmed the ladies as icily as he emptied the pockets of their husbands. This was the man they hunted, not the weary flesh and blood outlaw I had become. The law, relentless and patient, began to close its net. Primershed my name became John Palmer, a simple horse trader in Yorkshire, hoping to dissolve back into the anonymity from which I came. But a man cannot escape his own shadow, and the past has a long and unforgiving memory. A careless letter, a familiar turn of phrase, and the mask was finally torn away. The end, when it came, was not on a moonlit road with the wind in my hair and a pistol in my hand. It was in the cold, damp stone of a York prison cell. The myth of Dick Turpin was captured, but the man, John Palmer, was the one who faced the judge. The charges were simple, mundane, horse theft, not for the countless holdups, not for the life of a highwayman, but for the tools of the trade. The gallows at Knavesmire awaited, a final, stark stage for a life lived in the twilight between fame and infamy. On that spring day in 1739, they say, I went to my death with a certain swagger, dressed in fine new clothes, bowing to the crowds who had come to see the legend die. Perhaps I did. Perhaps I understood that while my body would swing, the story of Dick Turpin, the phantom of the road, had already galloped free, destined to ride forever through the mists of England's memory. They say that even now, on the darkest nights, you can hear the faint echo of hooves on the old North Road. But don't be afraid, it's only me, the ghost of a butcher's boy who dared to reach for a crown of moonlight and stardust.